Dear friends and partners from all over the world, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. My name is Uzi Shefer. I am the CEO of SOSA. Thank you for joining the CTA demo event, concluding incredible 11 weeks in which we had the pleasure of working with 7 leading Canadian cybersecurity companies. To share some highlights from these past weeks, we ran 21 hours of workshops to help restructure the story, the pitch, and the language of the companies. The companies also participated in a business speed dating with 98 meetings during 3 hours, where valuable relationships were established within the companies and their business mentors. We already have companies in advanced discussions to launch pilots with major US banks and insurance companies. Others are negotiating multi-million-dollar deals, potential investments, and so on. So what's next? The structured part of the program has been completed, but the companies will remain part of the SOSA network, and we will keep supporting interactions that have been initiated during the program. This was a real team effort, but I want to mention the hero who led this program on a daily basis. It's Matan, our Innovation Manager at SOSA, New York. I will now hand it over to Safia, which is the Head of Information and Communications Technology, Consulate General of Canada in New York. And Safia, I just want to say that we're honored to have been chosen by the CTA to support this program for the 2nd year. And thank you again for the great work that you are doing here in New York at the consulate. And the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, Uzi. Good day, everybody, and thank you for joining us this morning. As Uzi said, my name is Safia Muslifikai. I'm a Trade Commissioner and Head of Information and Communications Technology at the Consulate General of Canada in New York. And I manage the Canadian Technology Accelerator in Cybersecurity, Privacy, and Compliance that are run in partnership with our amazing friends at SOSA in the NYU Data Future Lab. And our hero, Matan, obviously. So today you will hear pitches from our 2021 cohort of 7 innovative startups from across Canada. We're exceptionally proud and impressed with the work and commitment to grow their business in the US they demonstrated over the last 10 weeks. And we wish them well. We will continue to work with them and make sure that they expand their activities in the US, and we will do our best to support them. So without further ado, enjoy the session, and over to you, Matan.
Thank you, Safia. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So you can find in the chat below the deal book for more information about the companies by the order they will be presenting. And let's go ahead and start meeting the startups. So each company will present for 5 minutes, followed by 1 question. So feel free to use the chat to submit questions. And the first startup I would like to introduce is Byos, an endpoint microsegmentation company. Matthias or Ryan, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Matan. Thank you, Safia. Thank you to everyone. Hello, everybody. My name is Matthias, and I'm the founder and CEO of Byos. Let me share my screen for a sec. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, like Matan said, we are a endpoint microsegmentation company based in Halifax, Nova Scotia. If a CISO is awake at 3 a.m., it's probably because of a few reasons involving ransomware, data leaks, or intrusions. However, we believe the market is telling us that there's a more fundamental problem with the way we secure networks that's present in many critical infrastructures. And that's the core security problem is that endpoints are always exposed and vulnerable to threats on the network. We believe that to solve this problem, a CISO should focus on reducing the exposure by segmenting the network, by providing only secure remote access to devices, by including a strong protection to legacy and IoT devices, and securing any and all devices that go in public and untrusted networks. Introducing the Byos Micro Gateway, an edge microsegmentation solution, isolating endpoints from unknown networks and foreign devices. We achieve zero trust by cloaking devices from the network while allowing the security to travel with the endpoint wherever it goes. Our solution is compatible with legacy devices and BYOD deployments. And the best part of all is that there's no traffic backhauling, there's no rerouting, and there's no proxying. We do this by setting up camp on the edge of each endpoint. either with a portable USB stick for corporate devices, an industrial gateway for connected devices, or pure software for OEMs to embed security inside their products. This opens up the opportunity for Byos to be valuable in many verticals across 3 strong use cases. Customers have deployed our solution with their employees working from untrusted Wi-Fi networks, whether it is at their home office or on a business trip, as well as with industrial controllers and legacy devices. On the cloud, we provide global control of fielded devices through group policies and threat intelligence, combined in a single pane of glass that allows you to control multiple networks at once, even in a multi-tenant approach. Using the Byos secure lobby feature, you can enforce secure remote access to any endpoint in your network at any time without breaking the isolation from the rest of the world. Byos is different because it works from the inside out, micro-segmenting everything while maintaining secure remote access. By placing ourselves on the edge, we can mitigate lateral movement with extreme granularity. And this also allows us to be completely endpoint and network agnostic. Our patented technology is a new category of solution in the market. At 50,000 feet, Byos integrates beautifully with the current market landscape. Byos offers a non-invasive, simple deployment that won't make customers have to choose between Byos and any other vendor that they've already deployed. In part, Byos even helps reduce the customer's current vendor landscape by merging value propositions, therefore simplifying the customer's technology footprint. Our current funnel is strong. We have both direct and channel opportunities in most of the segments we advocate for and in all 3 use cases. Our business model is simple. We offer hardware as a service. There's a one-time fee to cover the cost of the hardware when applicable, and an annual recurring subscription fee for the service. As an example, deployment in a small oil and gas of 1,000 endpoints would have an ARR of about $350,000. Our team presents a strong pedigree of industry veterans. We have repeat successful business, GTM experts with billions of dollars in generated value under their belts. And we're currently seeking $10 million at a $40 million pre-money valuation. The funds will help us scale our development engine, business development engine, while allowing us to increase our integration landscape and build partnerships with other vendors. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthias. So the question we got is, who would be the natural acquirer of your company?
That's a great question. I would say that large computer OEMs and network security companies would be the prime acquirers for Byos.
Got it. Thanks for clarifying. Up next, we have Crypto4A, an Ottawa-based company that aims to accelerate and secure the digital future. Bruno, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Matan. I'm going to share my screen. Good day and afternoon, evening. Thank you for having us on this demo day. My name is Bruno Couillard. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Crypto4A Technologies, an Ottawa-based technology company that has been founded to help secure today and tomorrow's security foundation of the internet. Jim, JP, Brad, and I co-founded the company based on our long history of having built secure products for the internet. In the early 90s, mid-90s, the 4 of us built the first generation of hardware security modules. These were the device used to secure our PKI foundation, very early days of the internet when PKI was a secure element of SSL transactions. The early conversations were that these devices were deployed in highly secure cages in data centers that were very highly segregated. Later on, we created the network attached version called the Luna HSM that was deployed alongside the internet footprint that was now transitioning over to the data centers. Then we left and we decided to pursue careers as consultants, but the internet marched on to the manufacturing floor, to the sea floor, and the next stage of the internet is really to evolve into being deployed at the edge. At the same time as the internet is moving forward, There's another thing that's happening in our current technology world. Quantum computers are being invented, and they are about to address very important needs and giving us capabilities we've never dreamed of before. But there's a dark side, or a less positive side, of quantum computers. They break existing secure platform and foundation of the internet. So the four of us have decided to create something called Crypto4A. And what we wanted to do was to address the critical need to improve today and tomorrow's foundation. So this quantum assured security module is a brand new third generation hardware security module that allows us to build the foundations of tomorrow, to be able to be quantum ready when the quantum computing era starts. And next year, NIST will be done with their selection process, and we're going to embark on a crypto migration that will take many, many, many years. We decided to deploy the Chasm inside a product called the QX Edge. And the QX Edge really embodies the concepts that we've been working on and dreamt of all those years of working in cybersecurity. In essence, a highly integrated mini data center in a box, to be honest. It embodies quantum capabilities, the security aspect of it, the ability to run your application in a secure environment, and to be able to call it make it part of a zero trust architecture, deploy it, whether it's a data center or at the edge of your network or on the seafloor, we don't care. So we've built the platform, and we've now been working with many partners and customers that have been paying to address their own internal needs. We've been working with Google. We have 6 different use cases with them. Some have been deployed, others are in midstream of deployment. And really the idea there is to replace, in some cases, we're replacing legacy machines. In other cases, we're actually making completely new confidential computing capability, securing their supply chain. We're working with Sierra to create a highly secure IoT registry where IoT device can actually be secured and kept track of and be given identities and so on. With Venafi, we have been working on a PKI-based post-quantum in a box. So we have worked many of the use cases. Our revenues are growing. We're currently on target to roughly $3 million this year. And we've completed recently a pre-series A final seed round with our investors. And I'm really working out to build up a Series A. So we're in a starting process. So we're looking forward to hear from you. And that's our company in a nutshell. Any questions?
Thank you, Bruno. So we have a question. Why do you describe the upcoming crypto migration as being different from the previous ones?
Thank you. Actually, if you've been in the crypto world for as long as we have, the best example I've found to explain this is, think of the Boston Big Dig. When Boston replaced their entire highway system in the center of the town, they had to lift it, maintain it working, dig underneath, replace the entire infrastructure, and then put it back together. The big dig is what is the physical world equivalent to what we're about to do in the crypto space. We're going to have to dig up all our crypto, replace, maintain functionality, and then replace everything underneath and then put it back together. And that's going to be not just one place, it's everywhere we've deployed crypto for the past 25 years. So think of big dig times thousands of times. And it's going to be a very challenging and really fun project, but you're going to have to know what you're doing. So this is, crypto migration is something we've never seen before. We've replaced a few algorithms, like, very, very few things, but now we're about to embark on a massive, complete overhaul. So that's the best answer I've found to date to help explain the crypto migration we're about to face.
Thanks for that, Bruno. So the next startup I'd like to pass the mic to KDS, a company leading the way for organizations to create and administer their own secure on-prem edge computing networks. Dan, stage is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much. My name is Dan Desjardins. I'm the president and CEO and co-founder of King's Distributed Systems. We're located in Kingston, Ontario, hence the name, but we're now 32 strong. We're 4 years old, and we're starting to get a buzz about us in the hallways of Google and AWS, and today I'll tell you why. We're building software to leverage computing power from any device you can possibly imagine and put it to good work to power analytics and AI applications of tomorrow, but at a fraction of the cost and with data staying on-prem. Here are a bunch of buzzwords that you will have seen and heard increasingly over the past several years. Data is the new oil, has been around for quite some time now. What that euphemism refers to is the rise of big data, data economies and AI to revolutionize everything. Proliferation of Internet of Things devices that are no longer confined to firewalls or even geographic areas that are coming in and out of countries and workplaces, airports and businesses and homes. Combined with this explosion of data to process comes the relatively high cost of cloud computing. Cloud computing, the titans of cloud computing have made hundreds of billions of dollars over the last couple of years and are growing exponentially, as we'll see on the next slide. They are cheaper than buying and administering your own hardware, but they still remain one of the principal sinks of expenses for cloud native companies today. The data privacy wars are upon us. We've seen all kinds of frameworks specific to different verticals in different countries and continents arise over the past years, which are an attempt to rein back control over issues pertaining to even national security and sovereignty and individual privacy. And finally, we have a whole bunch of technologies arriving like 5G and Wi-Fi 2 that are completely revolutionizing the pipelines that are moving data around. All of these factors are contributing to the rise of edge computing. Edge computing is where you bring compute to the data instead of bringing data to the compute. There's so much data being produced right now that it's literally creating data gravity, which means that moving it around combined with data privacy in order to perform analytics on them and combined with the high cost of cloud is no longer as feasible as it used to be. This is important. In total, $11 trillion economic impact is associated with the entire edge computing ecosystem. I listed just a few examples of the realms in which AI and data analytics are completely transforming entire sectors. And we can see that reflected in the revenues of cloud compute and edge compute. Of particular note are the particularly high compound annual growth rates, especially for edge. It's nearly growing 40% year over year and is going to completely overtake cloud over the next 5 years. Okay, but to unlock all of that value, here is the biggest problem facing edge computing today. Given the complete diversity of the hardware platforms, operating systems, bandwidth and latency, connectivity, security, and capacity limitations, it is yet impossible to create a uniform compute environment across this whole mesh of different types of systems. So stitching together all these devices to speak the same language. And that's what we've done. We're a deep tech company, and we've built the distributed compute protocol, which at the hardware layer, or just at the top of it, creates a uniform compute environment that is user configurable, software-based, and allows anyone or any enterprise to stitch together all of their existing hardware with requiring no software updates or new hardware expenses to create on-prem compute clusters. In a little bit more detail, a software-based solution that allows any device, any OS on-prem to combine into a compute mesh. 4-line compute API means that companies can accelerate AI and analytics on-prem for 10x less the cost of commercial cloud and keep their data private and on-premises. In addition to all this, it still interoperates with cloud if more compute is still needed. Traction to date, we're deployed across 7 universities. I've interacted with 900 students across 16 different events, and they absolutely love the platform and its capabilities. $2.2 million COVID-19 analytics project for the Government of Canada. 2 pilots commencing with tier 1 automotive suppliers in the smart manufacturing industry. And perhaps most interesting to us is our hospital customers that we're rolling this software out to accelerate their AI-based surgical operating room scheduling. This is our main go-to-market strategy. We're focusing on hospitals. The rationale for this is clear. Ontario alone put nearly $1 billion into reducing the current surgical backlog caused by COVID-19. We uniquely are positioned to provide on-prem compute power for hospitals to use AI to optimize their OR schedules. We already have 3 customers and the word is spreading fast. We have a clear path to $50 million a year within 36 months by focusing on this application and hospital vertical alone. But it gets exciting when we can deploy the same technology across defense, pharma, smart manufacturing, smart cities, and the like. The business model is simple. It's a platform as a service model where we're charging per CPU month and per GPU month. We don't need to charge for data transfers because we're leveraging our clients' own networks. So we're not charging them for their own data transmittance. And you can see how that compares favorably against existing commercial providers. Competition, these are just examples. There are dozens and dozens in each of these verticals, but commercial cloud obviously have the Titans, IBM, Microsoft, Google, and AWS. They provide computers from their data centers that they rent out to their clients. Then you have a different breed of competition. They provide on-prem hardware and managed services like data racks. So they'll install hardware in the client's premises. So they're selling hardware and they're maintaining it. And finally, you have software-based approaches like ours. And we're the only one in this entire category that is taking a web-based approach to our software, which allows it to be truly compatible with any device and any operating system, which is untrue for other Docker and container-based approaches. Finally, our team is composed of veterans in the business and software development arenas, including some of the most experienced folks to come out of Microsoft and working for banks. Our ask is simple. We've already completed phase 1. We've raised $6 million to date. We've acquired our first marquee customers and we've demonstrated traction. Now we're on to phase 2, where we're doubling down on expanding our current customers, specifically in hospitals, spreading the technology to more university campuses and collecting public network metrics. We're asking for $6 million, which gives us 18 months to execute phase 2. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Dan, thank you for the presentation. So one question, what questions around cybersecurity do your customers most often ask?
They ask about data privacy. As you can imagine, hospitals don't want any of their data leaving the building, as you would with cloud. So when you're using AWS, you have to push data possibly to a different country, different data center somewhere else. We have no issues whatsoever with HIPAA or any compliance because our software-based computing framework exists within the hospital itself using the hospital's own computers, meaning data stays local.
Got it. Thank you, Dan. So next in line, we have Private AI, an Ontario-based company that is working to make privacy and GDPR compliance fast, easy, and reliable using innovative AI models. Patricia, go ahead.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your presentation so far. So thanks, everyone, for being here. I'm going to start with a little bit of history about Private AI. We started version 1.0 of Private AI back in 2017 when we were combining homomorphic encryption with NLP to do semantic search on encrypted data. Ultimately, we got a couple of financial institutions interested, but it didn't seem like it was going to scale to the extent we wanted it to. So in 2019, we started looking at what the market really needed. I noticed this giant gap in the market where it's very difficult to integrate privacy into a software pipeline. And we decided to solve that gap. When I say we, I mean myself. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Toronto, and my research is on privacy preserving natural language and spoken language processing. And some of my work has been used by the DPO of Twilio, for example, to frame privacy problems within the organization. Peter Lucians, our CTO, was one of the first people to create traffic sign recognition models from scratch, and these are currently deployed in millions of Mercedes-Benz cars. Gerald Penn, our Chief Science Officer, was part of the team that brought deep learning to speech recognition. He's also worked for Bell Labs and NASA. And John Stocks, our head of sales, he was one of the first employees at Airbnb in London, helped scale their business in Europe. And when he came back to Toronto, he worked in B2B SaaS sales and was introduced to us by one of our current investors as a great candidate for the role. So when we're thinking about how to solve this massive problem of it being difficult to integrate privacy into a software pipeline, what we wanted to create is generalizable technology that's super easy to integrate, very accurate and very efficient. And after speaking to about 70 different companies, we noticed that a bunch of them were sitting on piles of unstructured data that either they weren't touching because of the personally identifiable information within that data, or they were creating in-house solutions which weren't great. So taking time away from their developers, from the core product, generally low accuracy that could get them into trouble, and third-party solutions like AWS and Google were not an option because they'd be sending their data to that third party and thus losing control and not satisfying contract requirements. We also noticed that in a large part, machine learning AI teams tended to move faster when we were talking to them about using the technology we created, which is a text, image, and video de-identification toolkit. So we decided to create a technology that's special for machine learning teams that want to prevent reducing the downstream model accuracy problems when you're training your models with de-identified data. So we created our own targeted synthetic data generation model that replaces names with fake names, locations with fake locations, and so on. Entirely context-based, so it's very natural, prevents you from losing downstream model accuracy when you're, for example, training a model to recognize how well a conversation went in a call center, or training a model to do to determine does a particular customer service agent need training. Things that you don't need the personally identifiable information for and can still give you a lot of value for your company. Currently, we are at 100K ARR. We're going pretty quickly. We quadrupled our ARR this year, and we have over 1.5 million in potential ARR in our pipeline. And we are currently raising 3 million. We are settling on a lead, but let us know if you would like to speak about the current round. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. So the question is, how do you ensure data consistency?
How do I ensure data consistency? As in through pseudonymization or through de-identification?
That's the question we got. Maybe the person who sent it can elaborate. So we're now getting it. So basically, where do you source your data and how do you ensure the consistency of it? That's the question. Where do
I source the data? Okay, so we source data from a variety of sources. We train on over 50 different data sets, and that's constantly growing to make the model generalizable as possible. And it's really the variety that matters. And in terms of, if you're talking about the pseudonymization, how do we ensure that the terms are consistent with the context? These are predicted by an AI model that we created, and that's entirely based on the context.
Okay, thank you, Patricia. So next up, I'd like to introduce TrojAI, a startup developing solutions to protect AI models and trading data from adversarial attack. Here to share more, we have James. James, go ahead.
Actually, you've got Stephen today, co-founder. And I'm just going to share my screen here with you. All right. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for attending the event and giving us a chance to present to you. And a special thanks to Matan and Sophia for all their hard work over the last number of weeks in both their introductions and their coaching. Very much appreciated. So artificial intelligence is reorganizing the world, introducing innovations that will likely exceed those that came with the World Wide Web. And like the web, there were, and in fact still are, security concerns. Today, trust in artificial intelligence is probably the single greatest risk to AI adoption. My name is Stephen Goddard, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer and co-founder of TrojAI. So call it responsible AI or trusted AI, the foundational pillars for the deployment of artificial intelligence must include considerations for fairness and bias, as well as interpretability and explainability. But more recently, a third equally important pillar of trusted AI has emerged, and that is robustness and security. This has emerged because AI is uniquely vulnerable and at risk of being exploited. In both training environments and model deployment environments, AI presents a unique vulnerability that cannot be protected by traditional cybersecurity perimeters. That's because parts of the AI pipeline hang outside traditional cybersecurity firewalls. Training data is vulnerable to poisoning and Trojan attacks, while deployed models are at risk from model evasion attacks. Models are unprotected and vulnerable at both ends of the AI pipeline, and TrojAI is building tools and solutions to extend that security perimeter to address these unique vulnerabilities. The first step to improving the safety, security, and trust in AI starts with model robustness. So recently, the U.S. National Securities Commission on Artificial Intelligence published the following problem statement. Apologies for all the text, but this really does begin to describe the challenge TrojAI has been working on addressing for nearly 2 years. It essentially says that classification models are often brittle and they operate at the edge of their competence, and as such, they're vulnerable. And the recommendations from the commission is to focus on building models that are robust and reliable. The path to safe, secure, and trusted AI is through improving model robustness that helps assure model performance or its ability to operate as intended in the wild. And the path to improving robustness starts with being able to measure it. So for the first time, data science teams can measure and track the provenance of their model through multiple training sessions with our robustness assessment dashboard. Accessing our solution by API that operates on the client-side server, our attack engine measures the ability of a model to withstand adversarial attacks and provides a visualization of how each class performed under attack. The class-by-class analysis shows the number of attacks that resulted in failure at a given level of perturbation. Critically, the analysis not only identifies which classes are most easily fooled, but more importantly, to which class failures are fooled toward, identifying the inherent failure bias of a model. The assessment solution not only improves the adversarial robustness of a client's computer vision model, but these insights can also help reduce the cost and time of development by as much as 25% and increase speed to market. TrojAI's robustness assessment solution forms the centerpiece for a suite of solutions that are being built for computer vision, from protecting training environments against data poisoning and Trojan attacks through to detecting and defending against model evasion attacks at deployment. Our team of 8 full-time employees are primarily focused on product development, and the founders team are experienced entrepreneurs with a track record of successful exits, with expertise in building teams, leveraging research, and delivering deep tech solutions to market. The forecast economic value of AI is a mind-boggling $15 trillion. And by 2030, the estimated cyber spend to protect this value is expected to be $150 billion, with $35 billion being allocated to computer vision and $3 billion to protect computer vision from data poisoning and model evasion attacks. We have 3 early adopters, and we're going to book our first revenue client in June for $10,000 MRR. We are actively pursuing a $2.5 million round and looking for discussions with investors. If you are interested, I'd please invite you to contact me at your convenience so that we can have a conversation. Thanks.
Thank you, Stephen. So you guys are doing something quite unique in the area. So is this risk real, and how big is it?
Yeah, the risk is very real and immediate. And whether when, our discussions with state actors that are concerned with what is being done to gain military advantage, or enterprises that are worried about adversarial risk that might affect their brand image. These risks are very real. And, you don't have to look, again, very far back at the World Wide Web and the challenges that, not just the innovations that came with it, but the challenges that we had in dealing with those security challenges. They're probably absolutely every bit as big as those were, and quite likely going to be bigger given how AI is likely to reorganize our world.
Got it. Thanks, Stephen. So up next, we have MONDATA, a Quebec-based company driven to make cybersecurity accessible to organizations of all sizes. Martin, you're up.
Thank you. Thank you, Matan. Thank you, everyone. I'll share my screen. Okay, good morning, everyone. I am Martin Ben-Gigi, CEO and founder of MONDATA. I'm here today to convince you that our platform will be a game changer in cybersecurity. We now work in a hostile environment. We are more exposed than ever. Cybercrime is skyrocketing. 16 billion per day, 11 million per minute, 55 million will be gone after my short presentation. Attackers don't care. Organization size and industry type don't matter anymore. Bank, insurance, government agencies, cities, real estate, retail, daycare centers, citizens, everyone is now a target. Why is defense getting beaten up? Defense is getting beaten up mainly because of the complexity of cybersecurity. There's dozens of specialties and thousands of tools, and we are facing a skills gap. Risk managers use a set of tools. Compliance specialists use another set of tools. Incident responders use a set of tools too. There is no integration between all the available tools. Specialists work in silos, information is spread out across several tools, and it's overwhelming. As a result, the global assessment is very hard to obtain, and it generates alert fatigue. Cybersecurity context has also changed. Digital transformation and the pandemic have created great opportunities for attackers. They are getting better every day. Cloud adoption and remote work bring new risks. Innovation brings new risk. Users and organizations want to innovate faster and faster. This creates a perfect storm, and only organizations well prepared will make it through. MONDATA innovates with a SaaS platform that provides a secure ecosystem based on three main pillars: incident detection and response, cloud automation and monitoring, cybersecurity governance. We integrate into our platform several best-of-breed security solutions. Our goal is to reduce complexity, provide visibility, and involve end users. Benefits are empowers employees, reduces risk factor on day one, streamline operations, improve users' behavior. At the end of the day, we reduce alert fatigue, we break the silos, and we bridge the skill gap by empowering employees. There are good players in our space. However, most address only specific aspects of cybersecurity. They often have more responsibility on the cybersecurity team and the IT teams. They rarely involve end user. MONDATA has a different approach to the problem. We believe providing visibility on many existing solutions into one single platform is a game changer. We believe that end users must be involved and be part of the solution. In short, we break silos, we integrate, we simplify. You all know that cybersecurity is a huge market. The key message here is that 77% of the market is looking for a cybersecurity service managed externally. MONDATA is in that sweet spot. Today, MONDATA is a 3-year-old company. We have 50 employees. We finish up 2020 with 2.8 million in sales. We are aiming for 7 million this year. We have more than 50 clients on our platform as we speak. 2 of them are among the top 10 largest financial institutions in Canada. Our 2025 objective for sales is $110 million. We have a great team. Many team members are recognized as cybersecurity experts in Canada. We have several years of experience building SaaS product and managed services in cybersecurity. In 2004, I launched my cybersecurity company named eNode. eNode was sold to TELUS Communication in 2014, Canada's second largest telco. The entire eNode team joined TELUS Security at the time. TELUS has allowed us to demonstrate our expertise in cyber at the national level. In 2018, I launched MONDATA, and the same group of people joined me for that great adventure. Our ask today, we are currently working on a round of funding for Q4 of this year. We are looking for something between 5 million and 8 million. We are not only looking for money, but also to work with a partner who will help us grow faster by providing contacts and expertise in developing a network of resellers in the US and a solid marketing strategy. To conclude my short presentation, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. So we have a question. What do you mean by involving end users in cybersecurity?
What we mean by involving any end user in cybersecurity is our platform send them a weekly digest. We analyze their behavior every day, every moment, and every week we send them a digest that explains to them what kind of behavior they have that could have been a risk for the organization. So instead of just doing a phishing experience every year or every 6 months, we involve them on a daily basis and we educate them on a daily basis with the platform.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. So last but not least, we've got Global Intel, a cyber intelligence company performing open source intelligence gathering throughout the surface, deep and dark web. Here to share more, we have Adam. Adam, the stage is yours.
Thank you. All right, thanks everybody. I am the CEO and founder of Global Intelligence. We are a startup company outside of Canada. And what we've done here at Global Intelligence is we are a next generation search engine for intelligence gathering from the surface, deep and dark web. So we currently have two mainstream products that are into law enforcement intelligence communities. They are known as CyberCheck and Checkmate. And the back end of our technology, which drives everything, is what we patented as the cyber DNA. So part of our whole initiative of going to market has been around coming from the R&D phase where we first launched our company back in 2018. And in 2018 and 2019, it was all about making sure we had the proper research and development framework for our product, because we were going to explore a difficult market, and that was the law enforcement intelligence community in the US. So we had to partner with one of the big giants in cloud computing. So we chose Amazon under their public safety and law enforcement division. And in 2020, we basically went soft to market with doing alpha and beta testing within approximately a half a dozen law enforcement intelligence agencies across the US. So when we knew that we could have a solid approach to market and the technology was good and it was accurate, we basically built out a strong sales team and business model. And in the end of 2020, December to be exact, we went to basically market. When we went to market full blown in January, we took our product sales from approximately $3,000 a month into our MRR now of $48,000. So we are approximately in 23 states with 48 different law enforcement agencies across the US. Our clientele is 100% in the US right now. So in terms of sales pipeline, we were always siloed in our approach to market with the one product of CyberCheck, even though we were getting a few use cases and some interest in Checkmate. But Checkmate is more of a constant intelligence framework that is more suited for security operations center or fusion centers. Part of our core technology is just to basically break every piece of data down that we can come across and keep it simple. We're not a hardware company. We're not a edge computing company or anything like that. Our focus has always been about delivering intel around data. We're not interested in where the data comes from. We're interested in where it ends up. So we have 5 layers of authentication through our technology platform, and each layer basically speaks to a who, what, where, when, or how of an incident. So we were able to take our technology to be 100% automated through to the end user to deliver a report. And what we have the capability of doing is taking a law enforcement intelligence analyst workload and reducing it by approximately 78%. If we take a quick peek at some of the numbers here that we've been involved in, from kidnapping all the way through to fraud and missing persons, it's not an instant return query like LexisNexis or TLO or something along that line. Our technology will always go out in real time through to surface, dark, and deep web and look for that building of case information. Right now, our accuracy rating is sitting at just north of 96%. And that is based on real-time analysis for law enforcement intelligence agencies. Our product line and outlook is CyberCheck is in market, has been strongly proven, has given us a good MRR. Checkmate is in the market validation stage. So we are testing this out with a couple agencies in LA County who also use our CyberCheck product. So our approach has always been to get a strong base within the CyberCheck because the underlying technology delivers Checkmate as well. And then in the next phase, and what we're going to be asking for funding is to support our blind spot product. The problem has always been for CyberCheck is that there is a wealth of intelligence online, and how do you utilize that for law enforcement agencies? Our approach has always been to take that big data and make it small. So we have approximately 78 use cases from the 611 that we've done. Use cases simply refer to agencies that will go on record and speak on our behalf, saying that it solved a homicide, it solved a child sex trafficking ring, so on and so forth. So part of our biggest competitors are the LexisNexis and TLOs of the world, but also we're able to leverage the difference between us because of the ability not to be an instant search return. So because of our sales and service delivery model, we don't have to prove that our technology for CyberCheck works. We're always up to date because we leverage a strong legal team as well to keep us in the black and white areas of what we can and cannot do with data. And the market size has always indicated that there is strong growth for law enforcement intelligence software. Right now, our pricing model is scheduled to go at $11,500. It has been starting at $8,500, but our price point now is $11,500 for a maximum 200 members on a force. The problem for us is we don't have enough use cases yet with Checkmate. We signed a contract with a security operations center where we're using our technology for 18 of their clientele, but we need more traction in the market with this product. So of course, we've all spoken to numbers today and the increases in breaches and whatnot, and how long it takes to identify a breach. But for us with our technology, well, let's look at LA County, for example. On a breach, they were able to alert within a 4 hours time frame of the breach. So again, it's not because of looking at end user nodes or anything like that. It's all about for us is where the data is ending up online. So again, a little bit of a pricing model. Of course, numbers indicate that the market is not saturated with security products in the security market space yet. So that's our next play. And one of our biggest features that was requested specifically for Checkmate and CyberCheck is the ability for Security Operations Center and municipalities to be able to pull our data via API. Our competitors straight across the board are the Recorded Futures, WebHose, LexisNexis of the world. But where separates us is the ability to create that who, what, where, when, and how of an incident, so of a crime, of a breach, and actually roll it out and say, here's the story, so that when you open the report or when you log into the portal to see it, you can see it as a narrative, not just an actual set of data. By the end of 2021, we will have our target of $1 million in sales for the CyberCheck product alone. We're on track now to actually hit that by the end of July. So our focus right now in terms of the technology is to roll out the mobile apps for the CyberCheck and Checkmate programs. And then it's an aggressive target on the 500,000 in sales for the Checkmate, but that's where we're aiming to be as well. And finally, the ask is for a $5 million raise. We're looking at 2022. We currently have a 16-month runway as of this morning on our frameworks and the financials. Our staff is, we diversify our staff. We don't take the approach where we hire extremely seasoned technical resources to look after our Amazon infrastructure. We pay the support and all the features to have our senior solutions architect and their team assigned to us from Amazon. That protects us in a couple of ways since we are a startup, because we don't have to worry about turnover there because they always have that redundancy. So part of this ask, of course, is for the product development, and operational gaps always exist for us in terms of staffing. So that's where a lot of the funds will be going for the funds. Any questions?
Thank you, Adam. So just a quick question. So do you need to collect all the data to actually analyze it?
No, where we're different in that field is, so we'll hear like newspaper stories around AWS not allowing police agencies to use recognition anymore, or Clearview IA getting in trouble because they collect people's images. We don't do that. We don't go out and collect it. We go out and look at it. So as long as we can see something, we can analyze it and move on to the next layers.
Got it. Thank you. So, well, everyone, this concludes our demo event for today. Feel free to reach out to myself, anyone at SOSA, to get in touch with any of the companies that presented today. Stay safe and be well. Thank you.